Your top stories this evening, sponsored by Courts, bringing value home. Soldiers voted without coercion, says Brigadier Khan. 3,106 soldiers eligible to vote. Police officers cast their ballots. Commissioner of Police reports seamless voting process. Disciplined forces votes are counted on elections day. Process of sorting to commence shortly. And APNU AFC raise alarm over violations of ballot secrecy. HGP Nightly News begins now. Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm Travis Chase with the Friday, August 22nd edition of the HGP Nightly News. Here's what you need to know this evening. No hiccups were reported over at the Guyana Defense Force as the country's servicemen voted on Friday. You'll have more details in this report. 3,106 ranks of the Guyana Defense Force were expected to have cast their ballots as members of the disciplined forces voted on Friday ahead of the September 1, 2025 general and regional elections. Chief of Defense Staff of the Guyana Defense Force, Brigadier Omar Khan, was first in line to cast his ballot. He was asked whether his ranks were allowed to freely express their constitutional right or whether the army has been pushing a particular party's agenda.
There's no particular agenda. Every day, every officer and rank gets up, put on their boots and clothes, and ready to serve the people of Guyana. Every soldier has a right to exercise their vote as they see fit. There's no coercion, there's no influence, and all the soldiers are here are doing just that, and across the force, and across the country.
He was also asked about what plans the Army has for those ranks who were not able to vote on Friday.
Yes, so we have a number of officers who are overseas, courses, etc., and they will be allowed to vote on the 1st of September.
And that's through the consulate, or?
Some are returning to Guyana, some are out, and those who can be afforded to vote overseas will be allowed to.
He said the ranks who are eligible to vote will certainly remember Brigadier Retired Gary Beaton, Colonel Michael Shahood, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Charles, Lieutenant Colonel Sean Welcome, and Staff Sergeant Jason Khan, all of whom died in a helicopter crash.
Well, certainly, a death always impacts in many ways. And what we have today is those who will remember them and vote in their service, in the name of their service, and what they would have done for Guyana.
Meanwhile, according to GCOM, all polling stations closed at 6 p.m. on Friday. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. Approximately 6,909 police officers were expected to cast their ballots on Friday. Nightly News took its cameras when polls opened at police officers Messi Vlery, and based on reports, the process was seamless. Antonio Day will tell you more.
Today is a significant day for members of the disciplined services as they determine who will lead the next government. Commissioner of Police Clifton HICKEN related to the press that based on his observations, the voting process was seamless.
The process in terms of GCOM, I think based on whatever I've observed just now there at the time, and everything is going smooth.
Mr. HICKEN explained that part of his agenda was to visit other central police stations in the capital city to watch the voting process. Deputy Chief Elections Officer Anil Giddings said that apart from some political parties not issuing their accreditation letters to their respective polling agents, the voting process thus far was seamless for policemen and women.
Go along, I don't have any major issue that hampered the opening of polls at all the locations across the spectrum. We have those aircraft movements that should be well underway, from Ogle going to Region 8, Region 9, and so on. So I think for now, I haven't received any untoward information that has been affecting polls.
Moreover, Head of State Irfan Ali visited the location and offered these remarks.
I was just paying attention to the process, listening to the announcements, listening to the presiding officers and so on calling out his ID number, looking at people using the folio.
Crime Chief Wendell Blanham also was present at the annex and also concurred that the voting process was seamless. Other members of the police force were also seen exercising their constitutional rights of voting at the Eve Leary location. I am Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News from the Guyana Police Force Training Academy.
You will hear in this story how exactly the votes for the disciplined forces are counted and when. Public Relations Officer of the Guyana Elections Commission, Yolanda Ward, explained in detail how exactly the ballots for the members of the disciplined forces are counted.
When they are finished voting and they return with that ballot, it does not contain their name. But of course, at the region and so on, where we will have to now, at the end of today's procedure, sort all those ballots cast by the respective regions where those ranks are registered to vote. And then we will have to do intermixing on election day.
The senior GCOM functionary explained that before those ballots are intermixed, there is a legal process that was followed.
In preparation for discipline services balloting day, when the ballots arrived, we engaged in a process of extraction of the requisite amount of ballots, being 10,481. Because those are the number of ranks that we expect to be voting today across the respective disciplined forces.
Ward said that the extraction process will be witnessed by agents of each political party.
We went through a process of enveloping those ballots for the respective ranks. 2 envelopes provided. One, a smaller envelope contained in a larger envelope. And so the ranks have went through a process with adequate information as to how they use that ballot and replace it in an envelope that doesn't carry their name. The outer envelope will have their name for issuance purposes.
She also explained what happens at the close of poll for the disciplined forces.
So at the close of poll today, which is 6 p.m. as the law provides for, when those ballots are returned to our headquarters, we will commence the process of sorting in the presence of agents so that we now group all those ballots into the respective districts where the ranks are registered to vote. Because where they currently reside is not ideally where they're currently working. It's not where they are registered to vote.
10,481 members of the disciplined services are eligible to vote. They include 6,909 members of the Guyana Police Force, 3,106 from the Guyana Defense Force, and 466 prison service employees. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. You're watching the HGP Nightly News. Stay with us. There is more news ahead.
Welcome to SNL Electrical Inc., where lighting and electrical needs are met with expertise and style. From the latest in electrical lamps to durable cables, circuit breakers, panels, we have it all. Illuminate your space with our elegant chandeliers, stunning crystal lights, and versatile pole lights. Looking to upgrade your comfort? Explore top-of-the-line AC units and our diverse selections of stylish styles. Visit us at 170-180 Thomas Street, Kitty, Georgetown. Discover a solution that not only lights up your world but transforms it. Call us on telephone number 226-3018 or 223-1634. SNL Electrical Inc. Powering your life with elegance, quality.
Contrary to popular belief, voting is easy as 1, 2, 3. On the ballot paper, provision is made for you to vote twice. Once on the top section where you vote for the general election, and once at the bottom section where you vote for the regional election. All you need to do is look for the name and symbol of the party of your choice in the top section for the general election, and mark your X in the empty box next to the party's symbol. Then, look for the name and symbol of the party of your choice in the bottom section for the regional election, and mark your X in the empty box next to the party's symbol. After you have voted, you are required to fold the ballot paper as shown by the election official. Dip the first joint of your right index finger in indelible ink and place the ballot paper in the ballot box. You will then have to leave the polling station. For further information, contact GCOM's hotlines at 225-027729, 226-6557, 223-9650, or visit the GCOM website at www.gcom.org.gy.
Commissioner Rolfe Establishment. No job is too small or too large. We specialize in all types of fabricating machinery, excavator repairs, rice field pumps, and hydraulic hoses. Visit us at Lot 113, Block CC, Monrepo, East Coast and Marara, or call 220-9624-629-4021 or 619-7880. At Krishna Rolfe Establishment, no job is too small or too large.
With the HGP Nightly News, with ballots already cast by members of the discipline services, fresh concerns are surfacing. Despite GCOM's ban on cell phones inside polling stations, alleged photographs of ballots have appeared on social media, raising questions about voter secrecy and compliance with election rules. Find out more from Tiana Cole.
Days after the Ghana Elections Commission, GCOM formally announced a comprehensive ban on the use of cell phones inside polling stations. Some voters who cast their ballots during Friday's discipline services voting photographed their marked ballots. Images circulating on social media mere hours after polls opened, showing how they voted. A leader of a Partnership for National Unity, APNU, Aubrey Norton, on Friday, described this as a violation of the law, noting that there have already been instances where persons photographed their ballots.
Because once you have the box like that, people could still find other means of doing irregularities. And as we pursue free and fair elections, we want to see this done properly.
Norton added that he has instructed his agents not to encourage any voting if they cannot clearly observe the individual entering the polling booth.
We have to scrutinize these elections and ensure that we keep them in check. We're not going to be able to deal with everyone, but we're going to stop the widespread rigging.
Meanwhile, Alliance for Change AFC Chairman David Patterson also raised alarm during a press conference on Friday. While members of the discipline services cast their votes, he highlighted that despite GCOM's ban, persons were still posting photographs of their ballots from inside the booth.
So obviously, the GCOM will have to tighten up on that regulation about no cameras in polling stations and the secrecy of your ballot.
Patterson further raised concerns regarding reports from his party's polling agents who indicated that a significant number of Guyana Defense Force GDF ranks voted without their identification cards, something he described as highly irregular and surprising.
In every polling station, from my reports here, there are at least 4 to 5 persons without ID card, and it's particularly alarming in the hinterland areas where there are only small numbers of electors.
He noted that this appears to be a trend they are monitoring closely, and a full statement will be issued at the conclusion of the exercise.
It's about 5 to 6% of them voting without ID card. That is something that we have to pay attention to.
On Tuesday, GCOM had formally announced its decision to ban the use of cell phones in polling stations on Election Day. The Election Commission explained that the measures was intended to protect the sanctity and secrecy of the ballots, while also preventing vote selling schemes linked to ballot photography. Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Presidential candidates on Friday made their rounds at polling stations as the discipline services cast their ballots ahead of the general and regional elections. Jada June will tell you more.
Presidential candidates contesting the 2025 elections were present at Eve Leary on one of the several polling stations to observe the discipline services cast their ballots on Friday. Among parties represented were President Irfan Ali for the ruling party, Aubrey Norton for the A Partnership for National Unity APNU, Nigel Hughes for the Alliance for Change, Amanza Walton Desir from the Forward Guyana Movement FGM, and Azuddin Mohammed from the We Invest in Nationhood WIN party. President Irfan Ali, after observing the process, said the exercise was going smoothly with the observers and party agents being efficient.
This morning, the opening of polls, of course, the Zoshi will have had a report on the opening of polls and things would have gone smoothly so far. And we are expecting us to stay this way.
Presidential candidate Amanza Walton Desir gave this assessment of the process.
It's relatively quiet. There are two stations that are not as heavily trafficked as the others. Things seem to be going in order. We didn't receive any major complaints or any such things. So.
We Invest in Nationhood WIN's presidential candidate, Azuddin Mohammed, who was joined by members of his party, including its general secretary, visited several polling stations where members of the discipline services cast their ballots. AFC's presidential candidate Nigel Hughes and teams visited ranks at Camp Stevenson's in Tumeri to observe the process. Meanwhile, presidential candidate for the A Partnership for National Unity APNU, Aubrey Norton, also spoke to the media after observing the voting process at Eve Leary.
We are looking to have a situation where there's free and fair elections.
However, Mr. Norton raised some concerns, particularly with the presence of the head of the Guyana police force at polling places. According to him, this is in contravention to established electoral principles and could amount to intimidation.
I heard that HICKEN and company walking around to polling stations, which is not a legal practice. You'll have to address that because you can't be the commissioner of police and the head of the army and walking around. In fact, that is in some regard using authority to kind of pressure people.
Despite his concerns, the APNU leader expressed confidence in winning the elections and highlighted further that officers in uniform should not be placed under such undue pressure.
Policemen and so should be allowed to vote without any of the senior persons being around.
More than 10,000 members of the discipline services were eligible to vote during the 2025 elections. Jada June reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Forward Guyana Movement's contract with the people has rejected the politics of division and exclusion that have long held the nation back. The party believes every Guyanese deserves a political system that reflects a rich diversity, values every voice, and leaves no one behind. Marvin Cato has more.
The Forward Guyana Movement FGM Coalition is committed to ending winner-takes-all politics, focusing on shared power and real representation. In this regard, they see constitutional reform as critical to the new governance structure of Guyana. The party is willing to pursue bold reforms to replace the winner-takes-all model with a system of shared power, ensuring all major groups have a real seat at the table and can shape our future together. This is according to FGM's presidential candidate, Amanza Walton Desir.
There's nothing there that you have described that will not be fixed if we fix this winner-takes-all system. If we fix this system where 51% of the vote doesn't have 100% of the say, that is the problem.
The party believes that real representation and voter choice expand democratic options so voters can act on conscience, not fear or tribal loyalty, with more choices and stronger safeguards for minority and independent voices. Professional elections management, reforming the Guyana Elections Commission into a truly independent technical body and removing partisan influence to guarantee fair, credible elections for all. In another area, protecting the integrity of the vote, implement rigorous controls to prevent voting abuse, including ineligible voting by foreigners and misuse of outdated Commonwealth reciprocity, so only citizens determine their destiny.
outlawing intimidation and protecting political rights. In this regard, no citizen should ever face threats, punishment, or discrimination for exercising their voting rights. Participation as candidates and or election or democratic rights, Forward Guyana movement will make such conduct illegal, investigate all credible reports, and hold perpetrators fully accountable. This is Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Marvin. Stay with us. There is more news ahead.
Planning a cleanup? We can help. Sevon's Waste Management skip bins can be provided for home renovation projects, yard cleanup, or construction project. It's simple. Step 1, give us a call. Step 2, we put down the bin. Step 3, load it up with all of your junk. Step 4, we take it away. That's simple. Bins are also available in various sizes, so there is no job that is too big or too small. Call Sevon's Waste Management today at 218-1455.
Whatever your dream is, Republic Bank can help you make it happen. Make it happen. Let's help you get there with a Make It Happen loan.
Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
Yo, Ricky, I hear that you can't cheat at elections, boy.
Yeah, boy. You can't cheat at elections, and if you try to cheat, you will be caught. When you are caught, you will be prosecuted in court, and if found guilty, you will go to jail and pay a big fines.
How will it catch me if I try to cheat?
GCOM has put in place several measures to identify persons who would attempt to cheat. As an ordinary voter, the measures that apply to you are ensuring that you cannot impersonate another voter, checking your fingers for the presence of indelible ink, and being scrutinized by the party agents who are stationed at the polling stations.
Well, yes, Ricky, you're right, boy. Nobody can cheat.
For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-027729 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Ronnie, what are you doing on the right of way? Like you're saying it is sunshine stretching it. Sunshine? Look, forget I ask. You know you're not supposed to be on the right of way, Granny. But I am digging, building, burning, or planting. No horsing wrong, no horse riding, or nothing for doing horses. But sunshine? But you and sunshine get out the right of way. Sunshine, let me glad. Good.
HGP Nightly News. Meanwhile, the party's contract with the people speaks to a Guyana first foreign policy. It is their view that the local foreign policy has been too transnational and must return to a place where the best and the brightest are used to fashion our geopolitical interest.
The Forward Guyana movement FGM's contract with the people touts Guyana first foreign policy, which seeks to prioritize the needs of all Guyanese, especially the poor, youth, women, and rural communities in all policies and investments. That's according to the FGM's presidential candidate, Amanzo Walton, this year.
That there is no one party that will have all the answers or all of the people, which is why when it comes to our foreign relations and our foreign policy, bipartisan support with many of the challenges that we're going to face will be very, very important.
Due to Guyana's newfound oil wealth, Walton Desir asserts that all hands-on-deck approach to our foreign policy is critical.
geopolitical winds that are converging on our shores will require the best and brightest that we have to offer across political lines.
The coalition also believes it is important to maintain international relationships consistent with Guyana's legacy, regional historical partners, including CARICOM, the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Europe, and enjoy expanded relationships with Brazil, the African countries, China, India, and Latin America.
As the leader in CARICOM, certainly we are now positioned from a economics perspective to play a greater leading role in CARICOM.
The Forward Guyana Movement's contract with the people has been heavy on bipartisanship and power sharing in the interest of Guyanese people. This is Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
The government of Guyana has issued a strong statement addressing the growing threat posed by transnational organized crime and narco-terrorism, warning of its severe implications for peace, democracy, and development across the region. Jay DeJune reports.
On Friday, August 22, 2025, the government of Guyana expressed grave concern over the escalating dangers of transnational organized crime. These transnational activities have been linked to criminal networks such as the Venezuela's Cartel de los Soles, which has been designated a terrorist organization by several countries in the region. In a strongly worded statement, the government underscored that such networks have the potential to undermine democratic institutions, weaken the rule of law, and destabilize development. It also poses a direct threat to human dignity and regional peace, the government asserts. Reaffirming its commitment to international cooperation, the government emphasized the urgent need for collaborative and integrated action at the national, regional, hemispheric, and global levels. The statement also highlighted President Irfanali's pledge to ensure Guyana plays an active role in supporting initiatives aimed at dismantling criminal organizations. Guyana has also pledged to continue working closely with bilateral partners while supporting regional and global security frameworks. The government stressed that unity in confronting these threats is vital to safeguarding peace and maintaining the Caribbean as a zone of peace. Jada June reporting for HGP Nightly News.
A young civil engineering student and indigenous advocate is calling for greater equality and expanded educational facilities in hinterland communities to reduce disparities between coastal and remote areas. The young engineering student is optimistic that the next government will make this a priority. Antonio Day will tell you more.
With Indigenous in Heritage Month stated for September 1, 2025, Nightly News features 21-year-old civil engineer student and Indigenous youth advocate Tatiana Norton. From Warramuri, the Guyana National Youth Council member and youth influencer under the Ministry of Human Services program aims to use her voice to break stigma against the nation's first peoples, especially in leadership and policy. In an exclusive interview with Nightly News, Norton, a civil engineering major, expressed her desire for more substantial structural development of educational facilities, especially in hinterland communities where inequalities still exist.
I do think that the education sector has a lot to improve on for the Indigenous people in their own hometown. Better schools, better infrastructure, especially being an engineering student. I've noticed and I've seen also the infrastructure that the coastal land would have or would receive.
Norton stated that whoever is elected to government in September needs to ensure that standardized facilities are available to assist the people of the hinterland. She said this challenge has forced residents to relocate to urban areas where opportunities and facilities are more accessible.
I do think it's an investment that needs to be made for Indigenous youths, for them to benefit not just this generation, but the future generations to come, so that people, the young people, Indigenous youths can feel confident and feel empowered right in their hometown.
While many diverse societies such as Guyana have cultural integration, the Indigenous youth advocate noted that many like herself have been subject to stereotypes and discrimination due to the ignorance of the culture of the nation's first peoples. Norton said that even in her field of study, there are many few Indigenous women, which she plans to change through empowerment, workshops, and outreaches in schools.
We can do way more than this stereotypes. We can break the barriers. We can break generational curses. We don't have to just stay at home, drop out of school, get pregnant, and these things. Those are all stereotypes.
The former youth parliamentarian said that while many of her family members are uneducated, she and another relative have shattered glass ceilings in their community by attaining education at the tertiary level. Norton acknowledged that relocating to the coast from the hinterland was difficult in terms of cultural adjustment. She, however, urged youths to not see this as a deterrent to their goals and visions. The Ghana National Youth Council Inclusion Chairperson noted that soon she will be facilitating science, technology, engineering, and mathematics workshops in several riverine communities. Norton said that this forms part of a youth empowerment initiative to attract more indigenous persons in that age cohort to join these fields.
We encourage and advocate for persons to join the engineering capacity. We can get more engineers, get more indigenous engineers, and get more men and women Guyanese into this field.
Norton intends to use her expertise in civil engineering to solely contribute to the significant development of her community in further afield. I am Antonio De reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Stay tuned for your regional news.
Live the island dream. It's your chance to be one of over 100 winners in the Island Dream promotion. Win your share of more than $1 million in cash and prizes. Plus 2 all-inclusive weekend staycations for 2. And that's not all. Score coolers packed with Buster, Turbo, Altitude, and Viva. Just buy any can or bottle of Turbo, Buster, Altitude, or Viva. Find the code starting with BB. Then visit at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean on IG or Facebook for details. Live the island dream. Get money. Live the island dream.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the moment you've been waiting for. Step right up because it's time for Digicel's $12 million Punch and Win. Top up with just $1,000 or more for a shot at winning up to $2 million weekly. That's right, up to $2 million weekly. 6 weeks, $2 million per week. Will you be one of our lucky winners? There's only one way to find out. Top up, punch, and win. Only with Digicel. Digicel, better connected.
Hey, stop, Peter. I don't go away when you don't eat food, you know. You got to wash your place because I did my nails. When is somebody going to make a nice cake? Is my good cake on upon the same?
Madam, I got a call from the people in the community and they said you are disturbing the peace. You're smelling up the place and you're doing something, but your food always seems to smell good.
Peppies, you get the best on these things.
These things just make you cook good. I want these things and I'll carry them for evidence.
Do I love all of you?
Peppies, we put the pep back into your kitchen.
And you... Granny, what are you doing on the right of way? Like you're saying that the sunshine stretch your legs. Sunshine? Look, forget I ask. You know you're not supposed to be on the right of way, Granny. But I ain't digging, building, burning, or planting. No horsing wrong, no horse riding, or nothing for doing horses. But sunshine? But you and sunshine get out the right of way. Sunshine, let me glad. Good.
Miss Shirley, help me out now, please. Why everyone telling me I must exercise my right to vote? Me ain't got time for that. Why must I vote?
Why must you vote? That is your constitutional right and civic duty, my child. Besides, think about this. Government officials make decisions that affect the well-being of you, your family, and community. By voting for a party of your choice, you will be electing the people who will be making these very important decisions. If you don't vote, then you will allow the people who vote to choose government officials without your input. Those others may not share your views about issues that matter to you.
Wait. It's so much voting means to me, and I done playing the fool? I definitely gonna vote on election day.
For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-02779 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Good evening and welcome to Friday's edition of the Regional News. I am Antonio Day. We begin with news in the region. The CARICOM private sector organization warns that the U.S. decision to increase Trinidad and Tobago's reciprocal tariff rate from 10% to 15% could severely impact the economy, already the most exposed within the CARICOM. CPSO CEO Dr. Patrick Antoine noted that this increase heightens potential losses in vital sectors and undermines the historic trade relationship with the U.S. He emphasized that these new tariffs erode the preferential access that has long supported economic ties with the U.S., accelerating the negative effects on CARICOM's trade position. Antoine said that the America First policy and the April imposition of reciprocal tariffs were the wake-up call for the region, and that this latest adjustment to the 15% is a signal of need for rapid, coordinated action to safeguard competitiveness. The CPSO noted that before the April 9 tariff of 10% was imposed, CARICOM member states had duty-free access to the U.S. market under the CBI. Following this 15% tariff, which took effect on August 7, shortly after Trinidad and Tobago was assigned the 10% baseline rate as part of the America First trade policy. CPSO projects potential annual export revenue losses for Trinidad and Tobago to reach $291.9 million US, increased from $194.6 million US on the previous rate. The projected losses highlight a significant disparity between Trinidad and Tobago and other CARICOM states. Over 2/3 of these estimated losses are expected in the base metal sector and chemicals, with the base metals largely consisting of various iron and steel products used in the U.S. construction, automotive, and manufacturing industries. The chemicals category includes products such as anhydrous ammonia, methanol, and urea, which are critical inputs for fertilizer production, plastics, and other industrial processes. The CPSO said that together these exports from Trinidad and Tobago anchor the country's industrial capacity and also feed into U.S. supply chains that rely on competitively priced raw materials. The CPSO stated that the additional 5% compounded onto the 10% announced in April will significantly challenge the export competitiveness and foreign exchange earnings of many micro and small exporters in Trinidad and Tobago. Continuing with news in the region, over 100 Cuban teachers are set to return to the classrooms next week under a new hiring framework adopted by the government following U.S. concerns about previous recruitment deals. Education Director Dominique McCartney-Russell stated that the teachers will resume their active contracts, while some will not return due to expired contracts. She emphasized that the importance of these educators amid ongoing shortages in various subjects, noting their support is crucial for providing opportunities for students. Despite early uncertainties among the teachers, McCartney-Russell anticipates their return. The government restructured its Cuban recruitment system after U.S. warnings that the prior model resembled forced labor, as leaked documents reveal that the Cuban government retained most of the salaries paid by the Bahamas. U.S. officials cautioned that the involvement in the scheme could result in visa sanctions for Bahamian officials and their families. In June, Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville announced that future Cuban professionals will be hired directly by the government rather than through intermediaries. Recruitment trips to Cuba have since been canceled, with officials also turning to the United States, Canada, and retired Bahamian teachers to help close the gap. McCartney-Russell noted that 6 additional Cuban teachers were shortlisted at the ministry's job fair, but there is still a shortfall of 30 to 35 teachers. Vacancies include 8 language arts, 7 technical studies, 7 performing arts, 6 early childhood, 3 physical education, and 6 health and family life teachers. Belinda Wilson, president of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, criticized the ministry for canceling Cuban recruitment trips without consulting the union. Currently, 130 Cuban teachers are employed in Bahamian schools. And finally, with some international news, the Trump administration announced on Thursday that it is reviewing the immigration status of more than 55 million people who hold valid U.S. visas for any potential violations that could lead to deportation, part of a growing crackdown on foreigners permitted to be in the United States. In a written answer to a question from the Associated Press, the State Department said that all U.S. visa holders, which can include tourists from many countries, are subject to continuous vetting, with an eye toward any indication they could be ineligible for permission to enter or stay in the United States. If such information is found, the visa will be revoked, and if the visa holder is in the United States, they will be subject to deportation. Since President Trump took office, his administration has prioritized deporting migrants illegally in the U.S. and holders of student and visitor exchange visas. The State Department's new language indicates that the vetting process is more extensive and could lead to abrupt revocation of permissions for those originally approved to be in the U.S. Thank you for watching. I am Antonio Day. Do have a great weekend and be safe. Goodbye for now.
Soldiers voted without coercion, says Brigadier Khan. 3,106 soldiers eligible to vote. Police officers cast their ballots. COP HICKEN reports seamless voting process. Disciplined forces votes are counted on elections day. Process of sorting to commence Friday. And APNU AFC raised alarm over violations of ballot secrecy. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm Travis Chase. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.